Baja, California is home to some of the strangest plants on the planet, and here we will examine one of the strangest of them all. The desert in the Baja is part of the Sonoran Desert. However, many of the dominant plants here are not the same plants as the ones found in Arizona's Sonoran Desert. The predominant columnar cactus in the Baja is the cardone cactus, which is not only bigger than Arizona's saguaro cactus, but is the largest cactus in the whole world. The cardone barbone, the sanita, and the organ pipe are other large columnar cactus. Several smaller columnar cactus, like the sour pitaya and the candelabra, cover the hills too. Many other very unusual plants are found here. The tree yucca, the wild fig, the blue palms, to name a few. The elephant tree is a very odd limber succulent tree filled with a viscid amber sap that grows where frost is rare. But perhaps the oddest of all the Baja plants is the Boojum tree that looks like an upside down root rather than a tree. The climate where the Boojum grows is perhaps not what we expect in the Sonoran Desert either. When temperatures are well above 100 degrees and the sun beats down in Arizona, the deserts where many of the Boojums grow is shrouded in fog until midday, and the temperatures barely make it into the 70s. The Boojums near the coast are covered in ball moss and Spanish moss and lichen. The current-day residents of the Baja still use the Boojum tree to construct palapas and cabinas. Although beyond the natural range of the Boojums, the horticulturalists at Boyce Thompson Arboretum have been able to successfully grow the Boojum tree near the town of Superior, Arizona, just outside Phoenix. Let's listen to Kim Stone tell us how their efforts have gone.
Well, my name's Kim Stone. I work for Boyce Thompson Arboretum, and what we're standing right next to here is one of our famous Boojum trees. Now, this is a smaller version of the Boojum tree than the ones you're going to see while I'm talking that are upwards. Our largest one is 30 feet tall. The botanical name of this particular plant is Focieria columnaris, but in Mexico it's actually known as the cirio because it is shaped like a candle. Now, the name Boojum that we all call it actually came from a reference in a Lewis Carroll story called The Hunting of the Snark. And the hunting of the snark was something that was read by another fellow named Godfrey Sykes, who works with the Desert Botanical Laboratory in Tucson. And in 1922, he went down to Mexico, and upon looking out over the distance at these plants, he said, "Ho, ho, a Boojum, it must be a Boojum." And actually, that name, people in Mexico don't even know what that Boojum word means. But up here, it actually, in the United States, that name stuck. This is now known as, to most people, as the Boojum. The Boojums that we have here at Boyce Thompson Arboretum were brought here in 1925, and we actually have photographs of one of these crossing the Mexican border very close to it on the back of a flatbed truck. Now, our largest one is 30 feet tall, and when it was brought here to the Arboretum in 1925, it was about 7 or 8 feet tall. So in that period of time of roughly 80 years or so, 85 years, that plant has grown another 25 feet. Now, here at the Arboretum, we have several different Boojums of several different sizes, our largest one being a 30-footer, and we have several other smaller ones that are up to about 15 feet, and some others that are maybe 5 to 6 feet. Now, we used to have 2 Boojums here at the Arboretum, and one of them was a little bit closer to where I'm standing now, but the one that we have left right here, the one that died unfortunately about 2003, 2004, many people think that Boojums actually live to be several hundred years. Some people have said 700 or 800 years. A lot of the new data now that's coming out about Boojums in their natural habitat is that they really only live maybe slightly more than 100 years. So the fact that our Boojum was roughly that age, maybe a little bit more, the fact that it had died maybe was more of natural causes. This one here that we have left is 30 feet tall. And the tallest one that's been found in Mexico is actually 76.5 feet tall. That's more than twice what you're seeing here. The ones actually in their natural habitat in Baja California and Sonora, a lot of times will have many wild, crazy shapes where there's all kinds of bendings like question marks and all kinds of strange curves. If you look all the way at the top of this, though, you'll notice that the flowers are actually at the very top of the stem of the Boojum. And the flowers are usually flowering in the latter part of the monsoon period, which would be maybe August and September. And the seed, that's generally ripe during approximately the middle of November. Now, this is the trunk of the Boojum, and it's all kind of rough and warty, but you'll notice, look at these small diameter branches that are coming out all the way up to the top of the plant. And usually these things aren't more than about 3 feet long, with these smaller branches and thorns. You can see also spines that are approximately 1 inch long or something coming out from the branches. Now the Boojums, their natural range of Boojums is in a couple different places in Mexico. One of them is at about a 250-mile swath on the Baja Peninsula, which should be approximately from El Rosario all the way down to San Ignacio. And there's also a small population on the west coast of Sonora, near just south of Puerto Libertad. And those are really the only places in Mexico where these plants occur. And they're really occurring in areas of very low rainfall, ranging in the south from about 3 to 4 inches a year up to the north, where they can get as much as 6 to 8 inches a year. And typically more in the north you're getting, and in the interior you're getting more of a bimodal rainfall, where you're getting some rainfall in the winter and some in the summer. Now these plants, this is essentially the end of winter and the springtime, and these have been leafed out all the way through the winter up to now, though they're soon going to be losing their leaves during generally a period of dormancy for the most part all the way through the summer, until they start to leaf out again in November. And in many cases in their native habitat, these plants are found in areas where they get predominantly winter rainfall, but the ones where they get to get their full stature are the ones that have really nice deep granitic soils, and those are the ones where they have rainfall that what they call bimodal rainfall, that comes during the wintertime and it comes during the summertime. Most of the seeds for these plants are usually germinating during the winter rains as opposed to the summer rains. The Boojum tree, its actual genus name, the name of its genus, every plant has a genus and a species. The genus for this plant is Idria, and the other one that's used now more commonly is Focieria. It's kind of a weird spelling, but it's related to another Focieria, which you've probably heard of, called the Ocotillo. And both of these plants are in the same plant family, and they both have leaves that come and go in response to rainfall. The ocotillos are notorious for getting their leaves within just maybe 2 days of a substantial rainfall, whereas Boojums usually need to have a little bit more time and a little bit more soil moisture built up before they'll start to leaf out and continue to leaf out. So typically you're finding Boojums that are usually only leafed out during the winter months, where ocotillos can kind of come and go depending on rainfall. You know, here at the Arboretum, these plants will take down to, we don't really know how low they will take. We just know that our lowest recorded temperature here is about 18 degrees Fahrenheit, because it all depends too, not just the absolute temperature, but how long it stays that cold. But in approximately 21 years that I've worked here, I've never seen any frost damage on any of our ocotillos. So they're hardy at least up to the upper teens Fahrenheit. Now, Boojums botanically are known as what we call stem succulents, which is not unlike a columnar cactus such as a saguaro, which is a typical columnar cactus we have in the Sonoran Desert. It has an internal framework, a sort of a woody lattice of wood that holds the plant up, and it has all this kind of spongy parenchyma tissue around it. And if you notice too, when you look down at the trunk of the plant, you can't really see inside of it, but it's actually surrounded with moisture, with tissues that actually hold moisture, which is why they call this a succulent, which is really any plant that can contain moisture in their leaves or their trunk or their roots. This one particularly would be typically called a stem succulent.
Down the back roads of the Baja California Peninsula, searching for the world's strangest plants, this is Mike Foster signing off until the next adventure. Que les vayan bien, mis buenos amigos.
Porque no han de saber que te amo, vida mía. ¿Por qué no he de decirlo si fundes tu alma con el alma mía? ¿Qué importa si después me ven llorando un día? Si acaso me preguntan, diré que te quiero mucho todavía. Se vive solamente una vez, hay que aprender a querer y a vivir. Hay que saber que la vida se aleja y nos deja llorando quimeras. No quiero arrepentirme después de lo que pudo haber sido y no fue. Quiero gozar.